Morning, everybody. My name is Jared O'Leary. I've been playing drums since 1998, but I still have a lot of stuff to work on. My background, I have a bachelor's, master's, PhD in music education, and have taught every grade, kindergarten through doctoral students. So I have a wide variety of performance and teaching experience, and I share them in these practice streams where I show how I work on stuff that I'm not good at yet, or stuff that I want to refine, etc. In all these practice streams, you can find them on my YouTube channel. Inside of them, there are timestamps in the description for every one of these practice streams that shows what I was working on or what I was talking about whenever somebody asks a question. And in these questions, I will often edit them down and put them in these drumming tips compilation videos in this playlist. The ones at the top that say members first are scheduled to release publicly. A new drumming tip video comes out every Friday, so these are not like behind a paywall or anything. They're just early access. So all of these have over a dozen hours of free drumming tips from questions that people have asked in the chat or online, in the comments, etc. So check that out if you're interested in it. And if you're on YouTube, if you go to my home tab, this is where you can find everything neatly organized. So we've got all of the drumming, gaming, computer science stuff organized into these categories. Just click on the header for one of them, and it shows you only the playlists related to drumming or gaming or computer science. So you can find all of that stuff there. Now, today I'm going to be warming up. Then I'm going to stretch and massage, and then I'm going to work on Chug with Flam accents and single doubles, or double singles, which you can find in the chop exercises here. So where am I at? I'm on my website. If you're on the vertical, it's here, /drum on my website. Or if you're on YouTube, it is the first link at the top of each one of the descriptions. It takes you here. You can find the 55 chop exercises, the over 900 grid variations, all of the limb independence timing exercises, and the charts, both straight and swung. There's 55 charts in there, from 40 beats a minute all the way up to 240 BPM, every single click in between. We've got just under 400 marching bass exercises right here. We have just under 300 technique exercises, and then all of the drumming tips, the live streams, the lessons, etc., which stay tuned for lessons. I finally got my camera working so it actually records and it doesn't look terrible. So we should have some more scripted lessons coming out next week. Fingers crossed. That's the plan, at least. Now, I'm going to warm up, and I'm going to warm up with an exercise that came out today. So under the Rudiment Builders playlist right here, we've got a ton of different exercises that are great for building up like your paradiddles or your cheeses or whatever. Now, the one that came out today was a Flam drag builder. There's currently 3 variations for Flam drag builder. Same thing for cheese, and same thing for Flam 5. This one comes out in 4 days, so it's currently members first, but stay tuned. So let me just kind of go over these real quickly, the other 2 variations that I'm not going to do. So the very first one right here is you take the breakdown of a Flam accent. So this is what your right hand plays when you're playing a Flam accent. So you have... That's what your right hand is playing when you're playing a Flam accent. Cool. This diddle right here is what your right hand does when you are playing a Flam drag. Okay, so that's the breakdown of a Flam drag. Etc. And what you're doing in this particular exercise, the Flam drag builder, is you're adding in one left hand at a time. So the grace note right here for this line. Then the next line, you're adding in another left hand, so this accent right here. And then you're adding in another left hand. And then when you get to the next page, we have just straight Flam drags for a whole line. And then you're taking away one right hand. So get rid of this right hand. Then you get rid of this right hand. Then you get rid of this right hand. And then finally, you get rid of the very first note at the start of each one of the measures. Now, this makes it so that you are working on your hands in isolation with just the right hand, slowly layering it in so that you're working on both hands together, and then you're going back into isolation working on just the other hand. So this is a fantastic way to refine each one of the hands, as well as the composite, the combination of the two, so when you put them together. So I highly recommend checking out the Flam accent builder, the cheese builder, the Flam drag builder, and the Flam 5 builder variations of this one. Now, variation 2 of each one of those rudiments, the cheese, drag, and 5, has a little bit of a different pattern here. So we have just an accent, a diddle on 2, a Flam accent, and then a Flam drag. And then we do everything so that it's accent on 2, and it's the same pattern, diddle, Flam, Flam drag. And then accent on 3, diddle, Flam, Flam drag. Okay, so that's a very simple exercise, but it's a great way to prepare you to work on grid with a rudiment like a cheese, a flam drag, or a flam 5. And now finally, the exercise that released today is variation 3. So this one has accent, a diddle on 2, a flam accent, and then a flam drag. Cool. But then we're shifting the flam drag over. So now it's a diddle on 3, a flam on 2, and a flam drag on 2. Okay, then it's still keeping the accent on 1, a diddle on 1, a flam on 3, and a flam drag on 3. So this is shifting the flam drag over, permutating it across the subdivision on here. Okay, so we're going to actually do this as our warm-up to get our hands going after that very long explanation. But before we do that, as always, we got to get motivated with Shia LaBeouf. You know, the great sage, Shia. He helps get me motivated to do this. For full transparency, last night I had some leftover curry that I made. I was like, I want to make this extra spicy. So I took this like Reaper sauce and dumped like what felt like a pound of Reaper sauce on it. And I'm feeling it this morning. So if I need to like call this early because my stomach is like erupting, that's what's happening. So FYI. Okay. Here we go. Shia LaBeouf. Motivate me. Do it. Just do it. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it. Make your dreams come true. Just do it. Some people dream success. Well, you're going to wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible. You should get to the point where anyone else would quit, and you're not going to stop there. No, what are you waiting for? Do it. Just do it. Yes, you can. Just do it. If you're tired of starting over, stop giving up. Oh, yeah. Now I'm ready to play some flam drags. Thanks, Shia. I'm super motivated now. All right, so let's start this at 100. We're just going to get the hands going, and then we'll stretch and massage, and then we'll get into chug with flam accents and whoop. Single doubles. Stay tuned. Turn up the volume on here. For every one of these play-alongs, by the way, I didn't mention this at the beginning, but they have timestamps in the description that allow you to jump to whatever BPM you want to practice this at. This particular one goes from 40 all the way up to 200 beats a minute, and every single click in between. So it's very thorough. Here we go. Now diddle on 3. Whoa. I was trying to talk and then it just like screwed me up, and then I was like, don't talk, and then it screwed me up more. So again, the second line is the flam drag on 2 of the partials. If I could, play it. Hands feel weird. Couple more reps, then we'll stretch and massage. Just trying to get the blood flowing in the hands. You don't have to play super fast to do that. Interesting, on the second line, the accents are a little weak, so I need to make sure they're still strong. Thanks for the like on YouTube. Cool. So that exercise released today. And again, that's just an easy way to work on your flam drags. One of 3 rudiment builder variations for the flam drag. Check out the other ones for the cheeses, the 5s, etc. But now we're going to stretch and massage, and then we'll get into the chug with flam accents and single doubles in a minute. First thing you do is you take your sticks, you hold it so that your palms are up, you pull in, and then you push out. This will stretch the side of your forearms. Highly recommend it. It's a good stretch. It looks really weird. It feels weird at first. You might not be able to get it all the way out like I can right away. I've been doing this one for 26 years. So I've been doing it a while. Rotate. If you do traditional, rotate and hold to one end of the extreme for the left, and then rotate and hold to the other end. Do that for 20 to 30 seconds. But because I don't do traditional anymore, I'm going to skip that one. Now I'm stretching the underside of the forearm. So you could do it like this. If you want to do a deeper stretch, do 2 fingers at a time, then 2 fingers at a time. You could also do this on the wall like I demonstrated 2 days ago. The lower you go, the deeper the stretch. This time I'll do it here. Don't put all your weight into this. We're just stretching the underside of the forearm. Trying to be thorough with stretching all around the forearm, and then in the hand and in the fingers. We'll get to that in a minute. Now we're going to stretch the top side. So you could do it like this. You could do it on the wall. The higher you go, the deeper the stretch. You could do this on your leg like I did yesterday. Or you could do this on your drum or pad like this. Again, don't put all your weight into it. Do, 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 do. This one, I don't need it as much as the underside of the forearm. Now we're going to stretch thumb to thumb, finger to finger. Goes twice as fast this way. Do, 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 do. I always get the Excite Bike theme song stuck in my head for some reason. I played that game a lot as a child, but for whatever reason, decades later, more than 30 years later, it pops into my brain. Brains are weird. The song bops, like unironically. It's a good song. Some of those old school jams. Pretty cool. Part of my research that I did for my doctorate in music education was actually the intersections of music and video games, and like kind of explored the history of it and whatnot. Was really curious about it, and then talked about like potential applications of video games in music education context. Wrote 3 chapters I think on that. 2 chapters? I don't remember. I forget the publications I've done. I'm gonna massage now. But it was really interesting to see like the history of like music and video games, and how there's all these like hardware constraints, like memory constraints that led to, okay, well, we can't really have like really long music, but we can have really short music and we can loop that over and over. And so that led to a lot of people doing like pop songs and metal songs, as opposed to orchestral stuff where it's like the melody is like, let's say, I don't know, 16 bars long as opposed to like 4 bars long for like a pop song. And it's really interesting how those hardware constraints had like a profound impact on the kind of music that you could hear and the sounds that you could hear in the video games that you would play like way back in the day, all that 8-bit stuff, which my dissertation explored chiptunes, the 8-bit music that you hear in the old video games, and how people today are still making that style of music by like modifying the hardware and software of consoles or handhelds like the Game Boy or the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive, etc. It was really interesting. A lot of cool findings in there. It was fun to explore that, but that was quite the process. Dissertation took like 2.5 years or something to write it. I think it was like, technically I think it ended up being like 3 years, but the proposal was like 2 years, and then when I defended to win the proposal, to when I defended the actual full dissertation. It was like, what, 6 months, 7 months, something like that. Will I be going to Dayton at all? No, I don't have any plans on doing that at the moment, but it would be fun to go back to like DCI, WGI finals and whatnot. Check those out. But I haven't gone in a very long time. To be candid, like in 2007, that was my age out year. I attended and watching the finals and watching the Corps march off the field. I wept because I was in the stands. So in 2005, I got into a car accident, and so I didn't get to march my years 6 or 7, my age out. So it was like, that was my identity. Like, I was section leader, center snare of like every drumline I had been on, and like I wanted to age out, like marching, and then I did not get to do that because of the car accident. Like, I hit my knee on the dashboard. Some dude ran a red light and I plowed right into him. And so I kind of like was in mourning for a very long time and just didn't want to watch like even lock clips or attend like rehearsals or things like that, because it was so hard for me to watch and go, that should have been me on the field. And so I took like many years off of like not watching it. But like I've gotten really into lock clips again, and like for the last, I don't know, since probably COVID actually, for the last like 4 years, I've been really into like watching some of the clips and whatnot. Mainly the lot stuff, that's my favorite thing. And having a lot of fun with that. So maybe in the future, I'm not writing it off, but not at the moment. Do you know who I am? A person online. It's kind of a random question. Do you know who I am? Okay, so let's go back. So the first link again at the top of each one of the descriptions for the play-alongs. If you go here, this takes you to where all the exercises are neatly organized. Now, I'm going to work on a chug variation. So the chug variation that I'm going to do is in here. And so we're going to do flam accents and single doubles. What quarter did I march? I marched for Academy for 5 years. Way back in the day. Back in my day. Flam accents and single doubles. Okay, so we're going to slow this all the way down to 40. And then we're going to speed her up. Whatnot, you're on Instagram now instead of on the tube of you. Welcome. All right, here we go. This is going to feel very slow. Oh my. You auditioned and got cut from an academy? It happens to everybody. I, too, have been cut from drum lines. Find a way to use it as fuel to make you want to practice more. If you can do that, that's how you would get ahead in life. My 2 cents on that. Use it as fuel for your fire. Like, what can I work on? Hopefully they gave you good feedback for what to work on to practice. And hopefully the resources on my channel and the like drumming tips and all these play-alongs and stuff help you out. But feel free to stop into these streams and ask questions. Like, hey, what exercise should I do to work on blah, blah, blah. Here to help. Do I like Green Day? Sure. I haven't listened to Green Day in a long time, though. They were very popular back in the day. I don't really listen to music, which I know is weird. I've been teaching music since 2003, have 3 degrees in it, but I don't really listen to a lot. I listen to more podcasts than I do music. I like to learn. So I really try and focus on learning more things rather than just listening. Which I know is weird, but hey, I'm weird. I should do some flams. I'm playing flams right now. Notice that there's not a flam after the singles or the doubles. That is intentional. People who play Fulcrum Freddy will often use this transcription. That is wrong. There are no flams after a single or double in Fulcrum Freddy. I know because I have the actual sheet music, which you can purchase on their website, Tapspace. Written by Murray Gussick. You're subscribing? Oh, I appreciate it. If you go to my home tab, since you're on YouTube, that's where you can find literally thousands of play-alongs like this one. And you can slow it down even slower than this. This one goes as slow as 20 beats a minute. Or as fast as 160. And there's over 2,000 play-alongs, drumming tips, etc. It'll keep you busy for a while. But the link at the top of each one of these play-alongs is where you can find it all neatly organized. Better than what I can do on YouTube, because YouTube is very limited in terms of how I can organize the content. But yeah, check out the home tab. It'll keep you busy. So this is a great exercise for just like trying to work on the not changing the fulcrum when you're switching from the singles into the doubles into the flam accents. So stay nice and relaxed, especially on the interior notes, the low notes, the taps. And don't overemphasize the accents like, ah, ah. You don't want to do that. Just pull them back. And really slow this thing down, like I am, to try and get that smooth transition from the singles into the doubles. Don't just practice it at like 120 or something. Go slow. I've been playing longer than many of you have been alive. Over 26 years. And I'm playing this slow for a reason. So you can too. Be patient. Trust the process. Refine. Don't just play fast. It'll pay off. This is a good exercise. Now, you'll notice I'm going up one click at a time. That's intentional. So if you have these like giant gaps in between like each BPM that you're practicing, so if you go up by like 10s or like by 20, if you're starting this slow, then there could be some technique gaps in there where you're shifting from one technique to another, like a slow technique into a fast technique. And ideally, you have consistent mechanics all the way throughout your playing. So when you're doing this, if you go up one click at a time, just like hit play on the video, let it do its thing, and let it gradually speed up, that can help try and eliminate those mechanical changes that you'll end up doing with your hands when you're going from a slower technique into a fast technique. So the way that I'm practicing this is I'm trying to take the technique I use when I'm playing fast, and I'm trying to apply it to a slow BPM. So when I'm playing this fast, I'm not playing with like a really heavy, loud accents. I'm just letting the accents pop back up, pull back, and get that weight in there. And so when I'm playing the slow, I don't want to like and really overemphasize each one of these notes and play super loud. Just play nice and relaxed. Just pull it back, let it happen. So use a fast technique, slow, and that will pay off. So that way you don't have those mechanical changes. My 2 cents. Here we go. Let's continue to refine. There's still like a slight change going from the singles to the doubles and vice versa. So I'm trying to refine that. Actually, let me write something down real quick. I want to add that to my list of things I discuss on most likely 2 days from now. So I've got this like list of these questions that I'm going through. And we'll kind of have like a session where I'm not drumming, where I'm just responding to a bunch of different questions. And I'm actually elaborate on what I just talked about. There we go. Click, 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 click. Here we go. Need to remember to get some water on this next rep. Hydrated, folks. It's important. Plus, I need to douse that fire from the Reaper sauce I had last night. Put out that fire that's in my stomach. FT, welcome back. The taps are a little too heavy. I need to just stay relaxed and light. Especially from when we speed this up. Ew. Talking screws me up. I'm so sorry. Unsub. I need to also make sure that, like, so, I talk quite a bit in the drumming tips and whatnot about a quick lesson that I learned from Jeff Queen, who's a 4-time world champion snare drummer. I got a couple lessons from him way back in the day, like 2003, I think, maybe 2004. I don't know, I forget. But anyways, so he was talking about how you want to have the stick vibrate in your hand. So you want to be able to make it so that when you're playing, you can feel it like tickling your hand, and you can actually hear the hum like that, as opposed to like this. So you want to hear the boop, 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 that extra sound. And when you're playing, including on your taps. So when I'm playing the transition from the single into the double, I still want to be able to feel that little tickle, have that little bit of a vibration in there when playing. And I'm kind of choking that off a little bit too much while doing this. So I'm trying to fix that. That's kind of where my attention is at the moment when I'm, not talking while playing. So I feel great here. Huh. Thank you for the like on YouTube. Ew, late. Oh, there's a bad transition. Also, the Flam accents were a little too heavy. I'm so sorry. So you may notice when I'm playing these exercises, I will often like look away from the sheet music, or will just like focus on something that is not changing, so like the wall or whatever, rather than looking at my hands or like looking in the mirror and looking at my hands or whatever. And the reason why is because I'm trying to just really isolate out my senses and just like focus on listening. So I might even like close my eyes and just listen. Okay, what does this sound like? And that way, all of my attention, all of my focus is just on like, how does the sound quality of the taps? What is the sound quality of the accents, etc. So if you are having some issues with being able to focus on it, one thing that you can do is just like close your eyes and just isolate out some senses. Another thing that you can do is record yourself like I am right now. So when I'm playing through this, I can then play it back. And when you play it back, you can do a variety of things to kind of like isolate out and figure out your own playing. So one of the things that you can do is just mute it and then just look at your hands and go, okay, visually, how does it look? Does my right and my left hand match each other? Are they the same heights for the taps and for the accents, things like that? Are the velocities the same? So if you play something as a double stop, is like one stick moving faster or slower than the other? Another thing that you can do is you can slow it down. Like if you're on YouTube, if you go into the controls here for this, you can, like, if you record yourself, slow it down to a quarter of speed, or even go as 2 times speed. If you slow something down, you can really see the mechanics of what your hands are doing, better than what you could do if you are actually just like watching yourself live. So you can actually see, okay, what does it look like when I'm moving the stick at a quarter speed? But if you speed it up, you can also find some of the macro issues that you're having. So for example, you could have an issue with like how high your accents are, or are you adding in a little extra motion on some accents and not adding in molar technique on other accents, etc. And it'll exaggerate that when you're playing something back at 2 times speed, because you'll be able to see like the little motions that you might be doing with like your shoulders or your hips or something, which don't do either of those when you're practicing, because it'll impact your playing zones and your playing, etc. So that's some quick tips of some things that you can do when you're working on this, is isolate your senses or record yourself and play it back slow, fast, on mute, etc. to be able to improve your playing over time. Okay, let's continue. Good morning, Army. For anybody who's like watching these VODs, hopefully you can also use this to like practice along with. So you can see me going from 40 up to whatever BPM we end at, and you can play along to it. Or if you don't want to hear me talk, then just use the play alongs. There's thousands of them. Oops. Sorry, I was distracted. I was like, why am I getting the notification for that? That happened 45 minutes ago. It was that delayed. Threw me off. Thank you for the like on YouTube. There's a notification for the garage. It was like, it shouldn't be opening right now. Who's breaking in? My years of Muay Thai are about to pay off. All jokes aside, training in martial arts definitely comes in handy. There've only been a couple of times in life where I've like needed that, and thankfully I didn't have to demonstrate it, but was able to go into it confidently. Like, you're not gonna like how this ends, my friend. So I'm glad I trained. Diffused it. Could have been a bad situation. Both times. I guess I can just story time with Jared real quick. So first time that I can remember, some guy was drunk and he was with a group of friends, and I happened to be walking by him with a person that I was out on a date on, and this dude just like starts yelling at me, and I'm just ignoring him. I'm just like, all right, this guy's drunk. I'm just gonna leave him. And so I walk by and I hear his friends start yelling, and I hear somebody running. I'm like, okay, what's happening? And he's behind me. This dude kicks and punches me at the same time. He did like a flying punch to the head and kick to the back of my leg. And I turn around. He's on the ground. He's at low kick height. And the person I was dating, she grabs my arm and holds on to it. She knows that I was, at the time, training in Muay Thai 6 days a week. Multiple times a day. And so she's like holding on my arm, trying to prevent me from rotating my hips, because I was going to hospitalize this guy with a kick to the head, which was my strongest. The low kicks are my strongest kicks. And his friends run up. This guy just assaulted me, and his friends run up, and he's like, what are you going to do about it? And there's like these big dudes, like clearly like really into bodybuilding. And me, being the little person that I am, was like, let's go. And they're like, what are you going to do? I was like, I'm ready. And they're like, what, are you trained? I was like, I am. I'm ready. Again, the person I was with, she's still holding my arm back. But as soon as they found out that like I'm actually trained and I'm not intimidated by your muscle size, I'm more than willing to take both of you on, or technically all three of you on, even your inebriated friend. Then all of a sudden they're like, oh, sorry, man, he didn't mean to, he's drunk. I'm just like, okay. So you came to bully me after your friend just assaulted me for no reason because you thought your muscle size was going to do something? But all that muscle size does nothing if you don't know how to punch, kick, block, dodge, all that stuff. So that's story number one. Story number two, I had this was many years ago, a neighbor call me panicking. He's like, yo, I need you to go to my house. There's some guy trying to break in, and my wife and kids are there. And like he keeps pounding on the door and he's trying to break it down. He's like swearing at them, etc. So I had to go out there and like ran over to their house, and which was like talking to him, and it's clear that this person was also inebriated. This person was also drunk, and they thought they were at their house, and so they were trying to break into it because they thought their roommates were not letting them in. So being able to go into that, and like thankfully I, again, trained in Muay Thai, so was not afraid of getting into a fight with him. But two, just like I meditated daily, so I was able to just like calm and like stay in the moment and be like, hey man, let's like talk this through, while my wife was like calling 911, etc. Because again, this guy's trying to break into a neighbor's house. So it's helpful to know martial arts in moments like that, because to no fault of your own, things will maybe happen to you where you're going to need to be able to defend yourself, or in the second case, be able to defend somebody else. And it can be very helpful to have that in there. But that's story time with Jared, and that's what that reminded me of. But anyways, let's continue playing this. So we'll get this one up to 80, and then I'll chop out, and then we'll call it for the day. And then Fortnite. Try and get some more wins. Yeah. Accents are still a little too heavy. Whoa. Little brain fart there. All right, last rep of this, and then we'll chop out. Hello again, FT. Maybe I'll play that version. Interesting. Do I want to play that? Yeah, let's do it. we're gonna burn out our right hand here. Cool. So this is a great exercise to work on that, like the fulcrum. Specifically focusing on staying nice, relaxed on the flam accents, and not having like drastic changes in your mechanics and your technique when going from singles into doubles. So this is a fantastic chug variation, and there are 23 more chug variations inside of this particular playlist. And again, you can find all of these chop exercises, grid variations, etc. Thousands of them on my home tab of YouTube or linked at the top of each one of the descriptions. Now, I'm going to chop out with Swiss Drag on 1. This one is quite the chop burner. Your right hand is going to play a lot of notes. Let's start off at 100. So it sounds like a flam drag, but you're playing it with Swiss sticking, which is right, right, left. So now, because I'm just going to chop out here, we're just going to go up 10 clicks at a time, as opposed to what I was just doing, where I was refining something and going up 1 click at a time. So at the end of your practice session, just have fun. Chop out with something for 5 to 10 minutes. Just to push your brain to think faster, your hands to play faster. 120. Whoa. No. I was thinking about something else. We gotta do that again. Unacceptable. Jeffrey, good morning. Yes, and Happy New Year to you. Time flies. It's hard to believe how quickly it goes. Do. Okay. 140. Yas, your emoji. Tomorrow. Definitely gonna need some coffee, most likely. We'll see how the fireworks impact my sleep tonight. Stop. This is where my stick ended up. At the end of that, it was just slowly sliding out of my hand from here. Which is why that progressively the right hand was like, nope, we're not gonna play those notes. All right, 150. Relaxed technique. Sorry, I hit the mic. It's starting to slip out again. Okay, this is most likely going to be my last speed. This is going to completely fall apart here. I'm playing with Hardeman hammers, double tape. So the Hardeman hammers are chopsticks. They're extra heavy. And with the double tape, whew, these really work the chops. Wish me luck. Oh my. Now, the play-alongs that I was using, again, there's timestamps in the description for every one of these. This one goes as slow as 40, one click at a time, all the way up to 200. If you can play this one at 200 with Hardeman hammers, double tape, tag me in a video. I'd love to see that. That'd be beefy. All right, if you go on to my home tab here, this is where you can find all of the drumming stuff. I also create gaming and computer science stuff because I'm a nerd and I like to share things that interest me. But if you just click on the header for the drumming content, you'll find literally thousands, plural, of drumming tips and exercises to work on. There's 290, just under 300 technique stuff. We've got 55 chop exercises. The 56th one is like just a video showing stuff. Just under 400 bass exercises, a bunch of drum charts, all sorts of stuff, blah, 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 blah. YouTube doesn't allow me to organize it as neatly as I can on my website. So if you want to go to where I was, the link at the top of every description, the very first link, will take you here. This is where you can find all the chop exercises that I was working on today, the 900 plus grid variations, the 55 drum charts, the hundreds of timing exercises, the bass drum stuff, the technique stuff, all of the tips, all of the practice streams, blah, blah, blah. Again, timestamps will show you either the BPM or what I was talking about in the different tips or in the actual live streams. Now, if you want to find some books and gear that I recommend, you go to here. So /gear on my page. These are some drum kit books that I recommend. Some marimba, some rudimental, concert snare, timpani. Here's the stuff I'm using on drum kit in terms of like the low volume cymbals, the drum pads I'm practicing on. These are the sticks I use, the Hardeman hammers are the ones I'm using, etc. Most of these are Amazon affiliate links, so I get about 4%-ish back from Amazon on most of these links. So if you purchase something on here using any of these links, then it helps me out at no cost to you. So if you're going to buy your groceries from Amazon or a large television, click on one of those links, and then I get 4% back. So you don't actually have to buy the thing that's on there, just anything. I appreciate everybody who shares these resources, and I appreciate people stopping by into these streams. Hopefully this continues to help you. I've got a new play-along releasing daily. Every one of the ones that says members first on them are scheduled to release publicly. So let's find one. Yes, the timing stuff. These are coming out now. So all these ones that say members first are scheduled to come out. So just stay tuned. There's over 400 of them scheduled. So you'll find a lot of them that are currently members first. But I've got more than a year's worth of content scheduled to release. So even if I die right now, you'll still get more play-alongs. But let's hope that doesn't happen so I can make more for you. I'm going to call it here. I don't know if I'll be on tomorrow. It quite frankly depends on how much sleep I get. It depends on the amount of fireworks. Sometimes Phoenix has a ton. Sometimes there's not a lot. So if I'm not on tomorrow, I'll be back on in 2 days from now. But I'm going to get ready for some Night of Fording right meow. So stay tuned for that. If you want to find the gaming stuff /game on my website, takes you to here. We got all the highlight reels from all the games I played, as well as all the VODs from all the games I played. But we're going to do some Fortnite here in a minute. Anyways, I'm going to call it here. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and goodbye.